Guilty of first-degree murder. That is what the jury ruled in the Antioch church shooting trial. Emanuel Samson was also found guilty on 42 other counts. News Channel 5's Jason Lamb was there as the verdicts were read.
Victim Melanie Crow, first-degree premeditated murder.
Letter A, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder.
Head down and emotionless, Emanuel Samson learned he'll be behind bars at least into his late 70s if a jury decides to ever let him out on parole at all. Following the verdict, Joey Spann, the pastor of the Bernadette Chapel Church of Christ, responded to an incredible claim from defense attorney Jennifer Thompson yesterday, saying Spann caused himself to get shot during the shooting.
But remember, Joey Spann threw something at Emanuel Samson. And remember, Emanuel Samson had a high startle reflex.
In one point, almost blaming you for throwing something
I startled him, didn't I? He'd already shot 5 people, and I startled him. She startled him in the driveway outside, so he shot her 4 times. And I don't mean to come across hateful, but it was irritating.
Now the jury has one more decision to make about his life sentence. Should Samson be eligible for parole in 51 years or have no chance of being a free man ever again? Jurors heard victim impact statements, including powerful testimony from murder victim Melanie Crow's sister-in-law.
She was my best friend, and she was just... She had went through a really hard time the past couple of years, and everything just started to come together for her. And I was so excited just to see her just happy again, and just everything that was in her future.
Words that will weigh heavily on the jurors' minds before deciding Samson's sentence on Tuesday. Jason Lamb, News Channel 5.
We have had gavel-to-gavel coverage of this case since Monday. News Channel 5's Nick Barris talked with our legal analyst about the charges.
Nick Barris here with legal analyst Nick Leonardo, and yes, the verdict in guilty on every single one of the 43 counts for Emanuel Samson, including the biggie, the 4th count, first-degree murder of Melanie Crow.
And that was the big count here, that the jury is now going to be involved in sentencing, and they're going to have to determine whether or not, because he's found guilty in count 4, premeditated first-degree murder, they have to determine whether or not it's going to be life in jail or life in prison without the possibility of parole. Those are the 2 considerations that they're currently going to be looking at.
But let's just be clear with everyone. I know they have to go through the motions on this, but with everything else he was convicted in, even if the jury were to come back with life in prison with possibility of parole, he's never getting out.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, I do believe that some of these counts could be ran consecutive, and some of the counts are mandatorily consecutive, like the Crooks with Guns Act. So by the time he's done with another sentencing hearing that will be done by the judge in, say, the next 60 days, he could get in excess of 100 years.
That's where we stand. As far as sentencing, they will be back at it to finish everything up, we imagine, of Tuesday of next week. And of course, we'll be covering it live. So we'll see you then, and we'll send it back now to the studio.